Greetings and salutations, all. Thank you for joining us for this regular scheduled board meeting on Monday, December 18th. It is 5:35. Apologies for the 5-minute late start. Roll call, please. Dr. Thompson.
Mr. Alexander.
Present.
Ms. Autry.
Present.
Dr. Hall.
Aye.
Ms. Jackson. Absent. Mr. Perry.
I'm here.
Mrs. McKittrick.
Here.
Dr. Molnar.
Here.
6 present, 1 absent.
Okay. Sounds good. I also want to acknowledge, before we go to the Pledge of Allegiance, I do want to acknowledge that we have our student school board member, Micaiah, excuse me, I beg your pardon, Micaiah Thompson, who's in 12th grader at Akron Academy. So thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you so much.
It's important to also note her last name. That's Micaiah Thompson.
Thompson, yes.
So you know that for the record.
Best last name in the room tonight, so fantastic. Well, so I'll... And I believe we have one of our newly elected school board members, Summer Hall, in the audience. That's also a great last name. Ms. Hall, would you be so kind as to join us up here at the table tonight? Would you be so kind? That does not mean that you have to stay the entire time, but we'd like to invite you to join us at the table tonight if you'd like to come up. Okay. Thank you. We can put her, she can sit right there where Carla sits, yeah. Put you right here. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Of course. Anything to trump Dr. Thompson's with that whole last name thing. I think Hall's a pretty good last name too. Micaiah Thompson's good too. Like Hall. All right. So next we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Vice President Autry, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess I'll go to you, Dr. Robinson. Ms. Autry.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, I am going to recognize our outgoing president, Dr. Derek Hall, and we will be presenting this copy of this resolution to be part of the permanent record of the Akron Board of Education, and a copy for Dr. Hall. And so I'm not going to read the entire proclamation, but I do just want to say just a few short words about my time with Dr. Hall. You get to know someone when you're on the campaign trail, and so I'm like, who is this guy? And I got to know him pretty well, serving together on the board. You make a special bond with someone when you go through something like COVID, and keeping a district of 20,000 students and all the employees safe. That's not something easy to do, and you bond over that. And so that's something that we will ever share along with Mrs. McKittrick as well. I remember all of us being in Nashville, Tennessee, when the news hit about COVID, we didn't know what was going on. We thought it was something that was going to be lasting a few weeks or so, and we all know what happened. But I'll forever be grateful and proud to have served with both of you during that time, because we did come together as a team. And I'm proud of what this district did, serving alongside of you to get us where we are today. So I just want to personally say thank you for the opportunity to get to know you and serve with you. So Dr. Derek Hall, as I stated, I'm not going to read the entire proclamation, but some of the highlights of his time while he's been here, serving as the board liaison for the North Cluster, co-chair of the Finance and Capital Management Committee, member of the Joint Board of Review. He continued and assumed the role of board vice president while chairing the Equity Committee, and additionally continuing to serve on the Finance and Capital Management Committee, further promoting fairness and financial prudence within the district. He continued with his contributions as he went on to be the liaison for the Firestone Cluster, and assuming the position of board president in 2023. He served on all committees, was the board liaison for specialty schools, and served as the president of the Joint Board of Review. Furthermore, he played an instrumental role in hiring the new CFO treasurer and new superintendent, and was instrumental in the creation of negotiations redesign meetings, enhancing the quality and effectiveness of the district's educational services. So now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Akron City School District, County of Summit, State of Ohio, that Derek Hall is recognized for his service to the Akron Public Schools and the community as a whole. Thank you, Dr. Hall. And we do have an additional presentation for you.
We do. So my part is to read about Dr. Hall's artwork presentation, which we have here today for him. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it. So the artwork is titled Changing of Seasons, and it was done by Amorio Navarro, who's an 8th grade student of Candace Montalvo, an art teacher at Jennings CLC. This artwork was exhibited at the Art in the Middle Gallery event, held at the main branch of the Akron Summit County Public Library. The inspiration: the artwork illustrates how the changing of the seasons brings out a range of hues and subtleties in the greenery. Amorio enjoys painting and drawing. She also enjoys going on hikes, swimming, and volleyball. Great job, Amorio.
Thank you.
So I don't know how you're going to hold all this stuff.
It's okay.
But this is for you. We're presenting you with your gavel,
The gavel, right, roger that.
as well as a gift here.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you.
So you probably have a few words,
I have a
right?
few words, yeah. So first, let me just say how honored I am to be the recipient of these fine gifts and honors. I do have a few words to say. It doesn't surprise anybody who does it. Okay. So first, let me say that in the last 4 years, I have done nothing on this board. We have done everything together. And so I'm not going to recount 4 years of history. I think Dr. Akbar did a nice job of that back in April when he was moving on. But instead, what I'd like to do is just take a couple minutes and talk about something that's really important to me that I feel very passionate about, and that is bringing about universal pre-K in Akron. So some of you know how I grew up, and some of you don't. But let me just share. I grew up in public housing here in Akron, Ohio. And if you know where Arlington Plaza is at, I lived right across the street from there until I was 13 years old. Both my parents had addiction issues. And, my mom got clean when I was 7 and decided to go to college. And she wanted to become a school teacher here in Akron, and she eventually did. And but that was a very difficult time for us in our life. I was that kid in class that when I went home to flip the light switch on, it didn't always turn on. The water didn't always work. And some of my earliest memories are of being in line to get government cheese and government peanut butter. And so although I do still miss that government cheese and government peanut butter, that was pretty good stuff. But the difference though was that, I watched my mom be transformed by education. And that was something that was inspirational for us, for me growing up. But living in public housing is an experience that I never forget, I never have forgotten. Even today in my house, when I flip the light switch on, there's still a part of me that is relieved that it works. And I can tell you that, I remember all the little kids when I was 7, 8 years old, seeing 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds who were just out in diapers, and nobody caring for these kids, nobody watching out for these kids. God knows what their parents were, what their parent or guardian were doing. And some of us who were 7 and 8 years old in the neighborhood were looking out for the 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds, making sure that they didn't get hit by a car, making sure that they, on a hot day in the summertime, that somebody went in the house and got a cup of water for these kids, right? And so that hasn't left me, and I often wonder what happened to those kids. Universal pre-K is a way to get those kids who maybe don't have structure in their lives, to get them at least some structure at as early as age 3 and age 4. And Akron is a very generous and giving community. We have a lot of fantastic partners, and we have great corporations. And my sincerest wish over the next 4 years is to see us find a way in this district to bring about universal pre-K for our kids. This is a community of have and have-nots. That's the reality. And I think it's important, if we're going to, create that rising tide, if you will, that we find a way to get those who have not a little more. At day's end, what we want to create in our schools is competition, and so, and you need competitors to have a competition. And so doing that work around universal pre-K, and by the way, something that we've been talking about for years on this board, and I know it's a part of, Dr. Robinson's blueprint for success, as well as how do we partner and/or create it ourselves. But that is my heart's fondest wish over the next 4 years, to see this city, this community find a way to bring universal pre-K into existence. And so finally, I want to conclude by just saying thank you, Joe, Diana, Bruce, Val, Renee, and those who are not here. Carla Jackson's ill tonight and couldn't be here. But I also want to thank Patrick Bravo and Lisa Mansfield, who I served with, as well as Dr. Akbar. I've learned so much from all of you and working with all of you. And like I said before, we have done a lot together. We have a lot to be proud of. And I'm so happy and ecstatic to have the opportunity to be your biggest cheerleaders as you all move forward. And Summer, again, want to welcome you. You have the best last name on the board moving forward. So I'm looking forward to following your career on the school board, and looking forward to seeing how how you all work together. Barbara Sykes as well, who's a dynamic leader in this community, who's very, very well known. I'm looking forward to seeing what this next board is going to do. And last but not least, I think, I'm looking forward to seeing what Dr. Robinson is going to do, because we have the right leader, and we have an excellent treasurer in Dr. Thompson to pair. So we have a great leadership. We have a great board. We have a great leadership team, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you all do. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the senior staff members who are here tonight. You've been with us every Monday night for 4 years, and some of those board meetings were very long board meetings. And so I just want to thank you for hanging in there with us, and thank you for the passion that you brought and still bring each and every day to your jobs. We all know why we're here, and that's for our kids. And so, again, I'm just excited for the future of APS. And again, I want to thank all of you for your time. So thank you.
Valerie McKittrick was elected to the Akron Public School Boards in the 2020 election. Well, actually, it was the 2019 election. We were sworn in 2020. She served as a board liaison for the Kenmore-Garfield Cluster, co-chair of Instructional Policy and Student Achievement Committee, and member of the Ford Next Generation Learning Steering Committee, contributing her expertise to guide our schools towards innovation and student-centered learning experiences. She took on the role of board liaison for the East Cluster, and further, she chaired the Legal Contracts and Board Policy Committee, ensuring that our school policies and contracts were sound and in the best interest of our students. Additionally, she co-chaired the Instructional Policy and Student Achievement Committee in 2021. She continued her service as the board liaison for the North Cluster in 2022, continued on as chair of the Instructional Policy Student Achievement Committee, and co-chair of the Legal Contracts and Board Policy Committee. In 2023, she served again for the North Cluster while taking on the role of committee chair for the Equity Committee and co-chair of Instructional Policy and Student Achievement. She also received the OSBA Training Award for her dedication to continuous learning and professional development. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Akron City School District, County of Summit, State of Ohio. Valerie McKittrick is recognized for her tireless service, unwavering dedication to the students and educators of the Akron Public Schools. A copy of this resolution will be made part of the permanent record of the Akron Board of Education, and that a copy will be presented to Ms. Valerie McKittrick. Thank you.
And while she's coming up there, Ms. McKittrick also has a piece of artwork here. Yeah. This is entitled Across the Sky, completed by La Ku Powell, an 8th grade student of Candace Montalvo, an art teacher at Jennings CLC. It was also exhibited at the Art in the Middle Gallery event, which was held in the main branch of the Akron Summit County Public Library. The inspiration is that the artwork depicts the reflection of mountains while looking out on a body of water. Math is La's favorite subject. She also enjoys writing poetry in her spare time, drawing little details, and listening to music while working. Great job, La.
You know, I'm not one to say a lot, and I have a few things that I'll say for community reflections, but it's been a joy to be a member of this board. And, you know, I was a classroom teacher for over 20 years, and the idea to continue that service in this capacity has been an honor for me. And so I thank all of you in this room and all of you in the community who put me here, and I appreciate sincerely the work that we've done over the last 4 years. Thank you.
Do you want your speak about your art?
So I guess we can end the board meeting now then, right? We're done. Again, thank you to our board colleagues. So appreciate your thoughtfulness. Next, we'll move to the election of the President Pro Temp for January 2024. Is there a nomination? So we'll open the floor for nominations. Is there a nomination for President Pro Temp starting in January 2024? Vice President Autry.
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Joe Perry.
Okay, we have Mr. Perry has been nominated. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Mr. Alexander. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Okay, nominations are now closed. Is there any discussion? Yeah, Vice President Autry.
I just wanted to comment for those who might not know what it means, President pro tempore. So because we don't have a president starting January, we have to have someone that will chair the meeting starting in January. So that is the purpose for this particular position.
Thank you, Ms. Autry. Is there any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, roll call, please. Dr. Thompson.
Mr. Perry? Well, you don't vote for yourself, do you?
I don't.
Okay. Excuse me.
No problem.
Mrs. McKittrick?
Yes.
Dr. Molnar?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mrs. Autry?
Yes.
Dr. Hall?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0 with one abstention, I guess, technically.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Perry, for taking on that task of President Pro Tem here in January.
A raise in pay?
We'll put that into a bill for the state legislators to take up here next year. So next we'll move to item 1.6, community and school reflections. And let's begin with Micaiah Thompson.
Hi, I'm Micaiah Thompson. I'm a senior at Akron Alternative Academy, also known as AAA. This is my first year serving as a student board member, and I'm the first student from AAA to serve as a board member. Overall, the staff at AAA is very understanding of all issues, not just school-related issues. For example, if a young lady is pregnant, the teachers make a plan for her to still get assignments done, especially if she's really pushing to be done with school by a certain time. Also, students at AAA can still get assignments done and still play sports at their home schools if they're willing to make the effort. My favorite teachers are my teacher, Miss Stone, because she pushes me to be myself even when I feel I'm not my best. She speaks to me in a way I understand and in a way that motivates me. During the pandemic, I contracted COVID, I had to have surgery, and as a student at Firestone with AP courses, it was a challenge for me to keep up with all of my assignments and stay healthy mentally. So my mom and I decided that it was a good idea for me to enroll at AAA so that I could stay on track for graduation. I'm graduating on January 19th, and my goal is to attend college and enter the medical field. As I said earlier, during COVID, it was a challenge for me to stay healthy mentally. I feel a lot of APS students have mental health challenges. Things that challenge students' mental health are working a part or full-time job while also going to school, home life issues, trouble getting assignments done, conflict with peers, feeling misunderstood by teachers, and being stressed due to a combination of other things. I feel that the adults that students confide in about these issues and problems could make a plan that works for that student. The adults could also give students more resources to feel like we aren't in the situation alone, but to feel like we can have someone to talk to. Music is a good stress reliever for students. Some students need to find the importance of getting enough sleep, eating right, and learning how to battle conflict, which change some of their lives. I know the board is voting on the Blueprint of Excellence, the strategic plan. The strategic plan includes the student voice. As students, having our voices heard is an important part of contributing to us as students being healthy mentally. Are there any questions at this time?
Yeah, good job.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments for Micaiah? Vice President Autry.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. It's more so of a comment. I just want to thank you and congratulate you for your hard work. And so I had the pleasure of actually visiting your school today, and your principal that's sitting here in the audience, Ms. Green Pelota, spoke very highly of you and talked about the amazing job you did to stay on track and to be ahead of things, therefore leading to your graduation. So I just want to thank you. And then also just, I'm happy that we do have a representative student from AAA because they are a viable, excellent choice that we have here in the district that many people don't even realize that we have that serve young people. And so I just wanted to thank you for being here. I think you mentioned the medical field. I hope that's nursing because we could use you. So please reach out to me and I can give you some advice on getting to that field. But thank you for being here.
Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you, Ms. Autry. Mr. Alexander.
Yes, I want to thank you also for being here, because, I'm student-oriented, and the only reason I really ran for the board is because of all of you, and I know how important it is to have all of you here in school and how important it is that you get a good education while you're here. I want to thank you for doing that hard work and going to AAA. Some people want to go to AAA because they feel that that's not a school I want to go to, but you took advantage of it, and now you're going to graduate, so congratulations, and I wish you well, and I know you're going to be a good nurse one day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Perry.
I just want to, offer my thanks as well. And you and I were discussing before the board meeting started, and you were talking about your presentation you were going to do tonight, and I heard you singing, and I was very impressed by that. So I don't know if your principal knows how good of a voice you have. Maybe you'll give us a rendition or something.
I can sing the ABCs.
Beautiful voice, though. Beautiful voice. Very smart young lady. Congratulations on everything you're doing. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Are there any other comments or questions for Ms. Thompson? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Thompson. We'll now open the floor for additional community and/or school reflections. Ms. McKittrick.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. This will be brief because that's my MO, but I do want to talk about a few of the things that happened on this board since we were sworn in 2020, 5 minutes before COVID started, it seems. So some of those things include keeping people whole during the shutdown. We developed the racism as a public health crisis, which then led, of course, to our racial equity policy. We made our public comment easier and more accessible to folks. We finally got sister universities for all of our high schools, and Bookdale finally waffled between New Tech and College and Career Academies, and that is finally a College and Career Academy community learning center as well. We did the wage audit, which led to, although we couldn't bring everybody up to the $15 an hour mark, we were successful in bringing many of our lowest paid folks up to closer to a living wage. We passed policies that allow for student and employees' chosen name and pronoun. And as difficult as the safety conversations are, we did take on safety measures that include coating of glass, metal detectors and bag screeners, and yes, even yonder bags as safety measures. We also now have a policy that is a land acknowledgement to our Native American, our indigenous peoples on whose land this very building sits. And of course, I want to thank my fellow board members. It's been, again, my privilege to sit in this room with you and work with you these last 4 years, or however many months it's been. I'm also very appreciative of the folks in this room, the senior staff, and especially Ruth Ryman, Yvette Johnson, and Elise Shuf for taking such good care of us and never even rolling your eyes, not a once, that I saw anyway. And I can only imagine sometimes the temptation was there. Anyway, and finally, I want to thank, of course, Dr. Robinson, and I'm looking forward to the work that you will do for this district. And I'm also hopeful that you will find your way here every day, your first winter in Northeast Ohio. So. And finally, to our classroom teachers, thank you for everything you do every day for the children in your care, because that's the reason for all of this. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. McKittrick. Well said.
Yeah.
Are there other communities and/or school reflections? Mr. Perry.
I don't want to follow that for sure, but it's always good to tout our students and what they do on a daily basis. And anytime I get a chance to talk about the students that we have, I'm going to do that. And most of you know, my 8th grade son is a middle school student at Litchfield, and he's in the band there. And he plays a wonderful alto saxophone, much like his dad 30 years ago. But they had a concert last week, the Litchfield CLC Winter Concert. And I mostly want to give congratulations to Director of Bands Andrew Schifano, Director of Choirs Eleanor Nickris, and Madison Callahan, Director of Orchestras. You guys should attend these events because these students are very talented, playing all these instruments and singing, and the choir is fantastic, and it's just a great thing to see. So there's a lot of talents that we have in APS, and I like to see that. And congratulations to all these kids on a wonderful winter concert last week. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Perry. Are there other community and/or school reflections? Dr. Marnar.
I have two reflections. One, last week I visited the College and Career Academy Go Further Luncheon with the Ford Next Generation partners, and there were so many highlights, especially as a reminder of how we are national leaders and how our College and Career Academy high schools are going, but as they're looking towards the future for our district, and to hear our partners being excited and investing and sharing our news. And the printout was wonderful because seeing the visual they gave us about the growth in graduation rates. We can talk forever. Look, we're national leaders, but what does that mean here? What does that mean now? What does that mean to our students in Akron? And there are concrete results that are happening here, and so I look forward to seeing that grow. And the other thing I want to talk about is the Be Kind 330 Poetry Expressions of Kindness event at Akron Civic Theater. It was such a beautiful event because it wasn't just student performers, which we did have wonderful student performers and community performers, but we also had student audience members. And so it was great to see students, inspiring students that then encourage and compliment each other, and it really demonstrates the snowball effect of kindness. My son has been asking me since the event, are you going to get the book, Mommy? Are you going to get the book? Because one of his friends was one of the performers, and he's so excited he wants to take it to school and get it signed, so now I get to tell him I have the book. But especially this time of year, the power of kindness, and I look forward to seeing more of what our community can do.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Marnar. Is there a personal favorite you have as far as the poems is there a personal favorite that you want to read to us
I am
tonight?
not going to lie, the song was my personal favorite. Not only did if you watch the song, you can get a little teary, but then at the end they played the song again. So my son actually walked up and recorded the song, so I hear it almost every day.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Marnar. Are there other community and/or school reflections? Ms. Autry?
Thank you. So I had the opportunity to visit quite a few schools since we've last met. So I'm not going to talk about all 17, but I'm going to mention their names because every building that I went into, I was just impressed. And I know you go in and you're like, oh, they're a school board member, but kids are for real. They're going to keep it honest. And every building I went into, I would have no issue at all with sending my granddaughter to one of those schools. So it was just a wonderful experience, wonderful energy. Students were engaged, teachers and staff really just were doing what they do every single day, and I want to thank them all. So I had the opportunity to visit Pfeiffer, Reimer, Voris, Sam Salem, Betty Jane, Mickey Bright, Portage Path, Bridges, Hatton, East High School, East Middle School, Glover, AAA today, including SOAR as well. I was able to go to the early learning music program, our partnership with Art Sparks, and it's because of a grant we have with GAR. And again, it's just wonderful to see those preschoolers just dancing and learning, and thank you for the contribution the grant GAR provides for us to have that. Was able to visit Bookdale 1040 KSU experience, celebrating our partnership with Kent State University, who's already been there all along, but now they are our official sister university with Bookdale. Over at East, got to go into the Stay in the Game room, which is a gift from the Cleveland Browns, which gives those students incentives to be able to come in and play games, hang out in this room for good attendance. And so Arby's was there as well, presenting a $100,000 check donation towards that. So that was amazing. Went to the Akron Roundtable and got to sit and have lunch with a few students from the Firestone band and orchestra, and there were also some students there from Garfield. And so it was just amazing to visit all of those. I appreciate the opportunity to visit and them welcoming me. I was able to sit in on some of the staff meetings and just see how they do the work in real time every single day. So although I didn't go extensively into everything that I saw, I was proud of everything that I saw, and I just want to thank those folks and those teachers, and I look forward to future invitations. I did go see a basketball game, too. It was East Girls and versus Firestone. And so we were there for a community meeting, and so I just stopped in to see the game. So that was nice as well. So thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Ms. Autry. Are there other community and/or school reflections? Okay. Well, I'll share briefly. The next 3 days, 15 schools scheduled. That's all I'm doing the next 3 days is visiting schools before my time here is done. So I'm committed to seeing and saying goodbye to as many people as I can and thanking as many people as I can. So I want to thank Nita Biskin for scheduling all that because she's been working tirelessly to get that scheduled. I do want to comment. So this morning, we had the pleasure of being notified that that the Miller South Choir was on WAKR this morning on the Ray Horner Show. Performing at 7 a.m. They gave them a half-hour block from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. And so anybody that has young kids, you know that your kids are always up. And so I have a 5- and a 3-year-old who are not allowed to say certain words. And so one of the songs they played, while I liked it, it was called "Don't Be a Jerk, It's Christmas." Fantastic song. They're like, "Don't be a jerk, it's Christmas." Yeah. So for the rest of the morning, my 5- and 3-year-old were saying, "You're a jerk, and you're a jerk, and you're a jerk, and don't be a jerk, and don't be a jerk." I'm only kidding a little bit. That was all morning. So, but I love the song, and the second favorite song that they did that I love was called "Reindeer Prom." That's also an original song to Miller South. They've been doing it for 25 years. They've been performing that Christmas song. So I won't try to. None of you appreciated the last rendition. I won't try to sing a line from that one either. But so again, just wanted to recognize the Miller South and their choir director. I think it's Paul Stewart, I believe, is his name, out at Miller South, and so did a great job. And each of the kids was able to introduce themselves live on the radio as well. And so Ray Horner has always been a friend to APS and to our kids and our families. So I just want to thank him for having them on. So, and that will conclude my community and school reflections. Next, we'll move to item 2.1, Miller South instrumental donation. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. I wanted to welcome Marissa Hughes, band director, at Miller South for the visual and performing arts. She will be sharing information about a donation made to Miller South Instrumental Department. And I also want to thank her as well for the great work that was done with the scholars at the
Light the Boulevard in downtown Kenmore. Yeah.
Yes, it was awesome. I enjoyed that experience and making sure that I definitely went and visited some of the restaurants after that performance, but it was very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, and the kids are still talking about it, so thank you for visiting us. Hi, everybody. My name is Marissa Hughes, and I am one of the instrumental music directors at Miller South School for the Visual and Performing Arts, and I was just so heartwarming to hear all of your stories about like Litchfield music and all the things that you get to support, and Dr. Robinson for attending our event, too. It brings a smile to all of our students' faces and means so much to us as teachers to see you celebrating all of these successes in Akron Public Schools, so thank you. I'm here today because my students and I are grateful for the significant donation that we recently received from the Highland Square Porch Rocker 5K. I felt it was important to recognize and thank them more formally to show how our community can come together to make such a positive impact on our students. For a little context, the Porch Rocker, which takes place in the Highland Square neighborhood in Akron, Ohio, is a one-of-a-kind outdoor musical festival experience showcasing some of the best musical talent from around the region. In the morning of the Porch Rocker, there is now a 5K to kick off the festival. We are grateful for all the participants, the runners, the walkers, the spectators, the sponsors, the partners, and the greater community for making this event such a success. At the event, Miller South students and families got to participate by running themselves or cheering on others with the signs that we made, and music students played encouraging music as the runners came by. We also had a student, Griffin Shepard, perform the national anthem on guitar prior to the race starting. Our band and orchestra students at Miller South are incredibly passionate about what they do in our music program. Our financial needs to run these programs is rising, so this was a perfect timing that this donation came to be. With an increase in participants and sponsors, the 5K proceeds to Miller South were valued at $4,000. So I'd like to give a round of applause for that. This will directly benefit the students in the band and orchestra at Miller South. And now I'd like to thank Nicole Schoenfeld, Miller South alumnus and current Akron Early College math teacher, and the Porch Rocker 5K director for her leadership in making this donation possible. The instrumental music students and directors are thankful for the significant contribution in all of the supplies, repairs, music purchases, and special opportunities that will come as a benefit from this donation. We also want to thank the sponsors and partners for their support. This includes Sandy Bottom Bowls, Missing Falls Brewery, Physio Balance and Sport Performance, the City of Akron, Portage Lakes Running Club, Second Soul Akron, Akron Promise, Run to You Racing, and our headline sponsor, Lee Angelo's Pizza. And thank you to Nicole Schoenfeld for her efforts to make this happen for Miller South. And we have photo collages with the sponsors and thank yous that we'd like to present to all the partners and businesses that they can display at their location that they wish. So can we give a round of applause for Nicole Schoenfeld? I'll let Nicole show.
Okay. Hi, I'm Nicole Schoenfeld, and I am the race director for the Porch Rocker 5K. And since our race kicks off such a special day in Akron centered around music and the arts, we thought it was only fitting to find a way to make our race about supporting the arts and music as well. So I love Miller South. We love Miller South and all that it has to offer. And as a Miller South alum myself, I know firsthand how remarkable their school is and their program and how dedicated the staff are to providing meaningful experiences that go far beyond the classroom. So this year we had almost 500 runners and 7 dedicated sponsors along with our title sponsor, Lee Angelo's Pizza. And with their help, as well as so many volunteers and so much community support, we were able to come together and show Miller South just how special they are to us and to our community. And we hope that we can find an even bigger way to contribute in the future. So we're just really happy to give back, and I guess that's it. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Are there any comments from the board?
I just want to say, I've never actually been to the Porch Rocker, much to my chagrin, but I'm going to change that next year for sure. And the 5K. Wasn't there a mini Porch Rocker this past Saturday, though? I was down there watching Wonka. And tell us about that. What was that about?
I'm actually not super close with actual Porch Rocker. The 5K is a little bit separate, but I know they just had a couple tents set up in the neighborhood, and it happened to be 50 degrees. So
Yeah.
it really worked out nicely.
Yeah.
Saturday night, I was down there, and it was great.
Yeah, people everywhere. I'm not really sure.
Okay. The holiday Porch Rocker, you say? Okay, nice.
They do it in December, and it's just to bring the community together again, because we all get together in August.
Yeah.
And it's a nice place, so I've gone every year.
Okay, I'll be there next year. Absolutely. Yep.
About 10,000, 15,000 people.
I know. It's huge. I know.
Yeah. Yeah, Porch Rocker is one heck of an event, and as the name implies, the bands are actually on the porches of these houses performing, which they need to be so they have access to the electric to power their equipment. So it's a great time. So next we're going to move to requests to address the board. First we have Amy Coleman. Is Amy Coleman here? Okay. All right. One more time. I've got Amy Coleman, Coleman. Okay. All right, next we'll move then, we have Dr. Campbell. Please come to the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Campbell, and I proudly serve as the Executive Director of the LeBron James Family Foundation, a partner of Akron Public Schools for more than 14 years. As the year winds down and the board prepares for a transition, I thought you should know why I'm here at every board meeting. And that is because trust has been broken. I feel it is important that I share an email I sent to the board president on July 18th, 2023, prior to the start of the school year. I hope your summer is going well. I wanted to first start by thanking you for your leadership you bring to the board. We share your belief that there is much to do, and we are always working hard to do our part to help students and families be successful. We are currently working around the clock to prepare the I Promise School for the upcoming school year, which we are looking forward to with great excitement and optimism for the direction our school, our incredible educators, and our growing students are headed in. We are thrilled to start the school year under the leadership of Principal Stephanie Davis. She's bringing with her decades of experience in trauma-informed education, a deep love for students, and a great vision for leading all at the I Promise School in a positive direction. We believe she brings the consistency IPS has been needing since our very first principal, and can't wait for more of our students, staff, and families to engage with her. To say we're looking forward to the first day of school would be an understatement. As that first day of school approaches, I would love the opportunity to share more of the work we're doing to make sure we're living up to the APS standards we hold in the highest regard. It's always our mission to make the board, the district, our families, and our Akron community proud. That was my outreach prior to the start of a promising new school year as we continue this partnership in good faith, always with the goal of making this board, the district, our families, and our Akron community proud. My email received no response. We all know what happened next. At every painful turn, trust was broken. Trust was broken as I watched countless others speak freely at board meetings without a shot clock closing in on them. As our supporters signed up to speak but were not granted the opportunity to do so, just as others were invited to speak mid-meeting to share their perspectives. Trust was broken as our parents, supporters, and team members were cut off and not allowed to have their full voices heard. Thank you for not cutting me off today. And trust was broken when we were not afforded the same respect that so many others get in executive session and behind closed doors in private meetings. What this board put our students and families through is deplorable. It is unconscionable the amount of shame, embarrassment, and regression our students experienced. And these are children already struggling, doing their darndest to get caught up after several excruciating years of COVID impact and leadership turnover at IPS. The board prompted them to be ridiculed and reduced to numbers. This is unacceptable. We heard from several Board of Education presidents and board members from across the country, people we don't even know, apologizing for the agony that was inflicted by our very own board. Through all of this, which was our lowest of lows, we continued to be good partners. We continued to provide our students, their families, our teachers, our staff, with everything we possibly could to help them be successful. We continue to show up and provide meals for open houses, address parent concerns, host monthly dinners, offer a math tutoring program at our institute, and address everyday challenges. We created once-in-a-lifetime field trips and experience opportunities to boost their spirits and restore their confidence. We donated over $1 million towards staffing and resources to improve their learning. We spent our holiday delivering turkey meals to their doors so they could enjoy a hot meal with their families. We've given our lives to make their lives better because this is about something bigger. It's about educating children and families for a better future, and that is something we all have a stake in. We will always continue to show up. We will always be a good partner because that is how you build something that lasts well beyond our lifetimes. It is work that we all at LJFF take a tremendous amount of pride in because we know what's at stake. Lives are at stake. And this board allowed this important work to become a personal vendetta. While the board lost sight of the bigger picture, we just kept working. We've learned, we've grown, and we will always continue to do everything we can to support our scholars through the ups and downs, always. As we close out this year, all we want to do is exactly what I said in that initial July 18th email to the board, to make the board, the district, our families, and our Akron community proud. We would love nothing more to work hand in hand with the new board in this effort that is bigger than any one of us alone. And all we ask is that we're given the same respect that so many others are given. We promise we will continue to be good partners and to do everything in our power to help our students and families be successful. And we keep our promises. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell, for addressing the board. As a general policy, we like to refer all addresses to the board, to our superintendent to address. However, there's. Let me just reply to the email since that was something that singled me out in particular. You and I had an offline conversation where I explained why I did not reply to that email, and so I'm not going to rehash all that here tonight, but suffice to say, we spent about a 45-minute conversation talking about the delay in responding, and I thought we had a productive conversation, so to move us forward. So evidently, you didn't feel that way, and I'm genuinely sorry for that. So as for the rest of your remarks, again, I'll let the next board go ahead and work with that and move that forward, and I'll leave it there. So next we'll move to item 4.1, which is the regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes from 11/27 of 23?
So move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, roll call, please, Dr. Thompson.
Mrs. McKittrick.
No on 6.2, yes on the balance.
Could you say that number one more time? 6.2. Thank you.
These are the minutes.
Minutes.
Dr. Molnar?
This is
Disregard, yes.
Okay, disregard that one, but I know it's coming though, right? So it's okay. I'll still know 6.2 is it. All right. So I'll ask again, Ms. McKittrick?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Molnar?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mrs. Autry?
Yes.
Dr. Hall?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Next, we'll move to the approval of personnel recommendations. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. I also want to make note in this section that we have a resolution to accept arbitration, opinion, and award. The SEIU MOT filed a grievance on February 14th, 2023, alleging a violation of our collective agreement pertaining to how building permits were classified as paid or non-paid permits for events. The grievance was denied at every step of the grievance process. SEIU proceeded with filing at the arbitration level. An arbitration hearing was held on October 17th, 2023, with arbitrator Mitchell B. Goldberg. On December 14, 2023, Mr. Goldberg issued his opinion and award denying the grievance. The board must now take action to accept the arbitrator's opinion and award within 15 days. And this is a part of this section here. So I am recommending approval, please, of the personnel recommendations presented in sections 5 through 17.1.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Is there a motion to approve the personnel recommendations?
I so move to approve.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Perry. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Ms. Autry. Is there any discussion? Yeah, Mr. Perry.
Just wanted to comment on item 5.1. You know, for all of our great teachers who decide to retire, you know, we know you do great work. But I want to especially point out Kenneth Rocco, who is still at Resnick, I believe. He's retiring, looks like, next May. And he taught my oldest in 4th grade over at Resnick. Might I just add that Resnick was recognized, apparently, as being one of the best schools in the country. So congratulations, Resnick, on what you do, and congratulations to all the teachers there, and congrats, Mr. Rocco, on your retirement.
All right, that sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Perry. Is there any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, roll call, please, Dr. Thompson.
Dr. Molnar,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Mrs. Autry,
Yes.
Dr. Hall,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Mrs. McKittrick.
No on 6.2, yes on the rest.
Thank you. Motions carry 6-0 with 1 abstention.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to the approval of resolutions and motions in the consent agenda. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. I want to recommend approval of the resolutions and motions presented in Category 21. They're in proper format, and I move for their approval. I just want to make a note that we received a very large donation of $5,000 from an anonymous donor for Project Rise, $1,650 from Brandon Brown of Bright Builders Corporation for boys basketball uniforms at Garfield, CLC, $2,500 from the Italian American Profession Business Club for ELP, 99 twin sheet sets for Project Rise, 3 iPads for APS students, incentives, and 1,040 Purell hand sanitizers for APS, and 150 $20 Acme cards for 5 of our elementary schools. And so we just want to really thank our donors and our partners for supporting APS and the scholars.
All right, thank you, Dr. Robinson. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second? So it's been probably moved by Mr. Alexander. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Ms. McKittrick. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing and seeing none, roll call, please, at Dr. Thompson.
Dr. Hall,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Mrs. McKittrick,
Yes.
Dr. Molnar,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Mrs. Autry.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, next we'll move to item 23, our business affairs recommendations.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. The Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company Corporation Agreement Renewal for STEM High School in Ellet CLC, which is a part of this, and I would like to recommend approval of the business affairs recommendations presented in Category 23.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Is there a motion to approve the business affairs recommendations?
So move.
It's been moved by Mr. Alexander. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Ms. Autry. Is there any discussion? Yes, Ms. Autry.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I just wanted to acknowledge item 23.19, the purchase and installation of 6 huddle focus cameras that are going to be going into our high school. And this is going to be a great resource for purposes of preparing videos for our scholar athletes for recruiting purposes. It's my understanding that coaches and students as well will have the capability of accessing and creating these videos. So I think this is a great investment, and also for safety purposes as well. And then the ability to kind of, I guess, review tapes of other teams too, so we can strategize. But I just wanted to point that out because I think that's a great investment for our district.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Autry. Is there any other discussion? Oh, yes, Dr. Molnar?
I just wanted to also point out item 23.2, the musical that's coming to Firestone, and this is coming from ticket sales. So the students put on the shows, but we need people to come see the shows and pay to see the shows. So that is where these funds are coming from, and I look forward to the things that our students will do.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Marner. I appreciate it. Is there any other discussion? All right. Hearing and seeing none, roll call, please. Dr. Thompson.
Mrs. McKittrick.
Yes.
Dr. Molnar.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mrs. Autry.
Yes.
Dr. Hall.
Aye.
Mr. Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right. Next, we move to the superintendent's report. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. I will move through these items on the report as quickly as possible. I just want to remind all of our parents, as we are closing out this school year, this year, and going into January, as our weather, such as it is tonight, is not as nice as it usually is. But I do want to remind our parents, our scholars, to please look at our website, please look at the news, listen to the radio. We will sending text messages, robocalls. Just wanting you to make sure that you know if for some reason school, there was an issue with school, we would be notifying you. So please check that. Just want to again re-emphasize the Expressions of Kindness poetry project that was held at the Akron Civic Theater. I just want to thank Ms. Joanne Isaac for an outstanding, and I mean a stellar job that she did. People don't see her during the day, and the work that she does during the day. I remember the first person, she was one of the first persons that I met when I came here, and I asked her, what does she do? And she says, well, I just do what you tell me. And I said, well, no, but like, what is your job? And I've seen what her job is. And so she is a outstanding person who supports and really pushes a lot of the work. And it certainly is a big help to me. But I also want to thank Mr. Tom and Jenny Knoll for their contribution to this event. It was a pleasure to meet them, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart because they really made this possible for us. The Essential Experience at Akron Art Museum for our fourth graders, I went to see that. They are Finley CLC scholars, so I went to see that, and it was breathtaking. I like to see when our kids, maybe because I love the arts, but I think I love when they get exposed to the arts because it's transformational. And I really thank the kids. And when I say our kids were extremely well-behaved and attentive and engaged, they were really learning the experience, and I appreciate that. Ms. Kristen Toth, Vice President of GAR Foundation, I had an opportunity to go to her farewell. I want to thank her again for all that she has done to support APS schools. As I learned and got to know her, our kids get a chance to be exposed to the history, very rich history here in Akron City. And it's because of the wonderful contributions of foundations like GAR that really support our kids. And I want to just thank the GAR Foundation as well. We had a lot going on, and we still do, with our redistricting meetings, which have been extremely very beneficial, and it's been really great to really get to know our community. And so those meetings, I really appreciate those, and we will be bringing in at the beginning of the year a proposal for redistricting. The Ford Next Generation Learning, NGL, they visited Akron. I had an opportunity to interface with them and really get to know them. I really enjoyed that experience as our vision and what is pointed out in our Blueprint for Excellence that I'll be presenting. It really fits perfectly in line with what we are doing with our college and career academies. The Akron Zoo, I had a chance to go and watch our kids the other night at the Akron Zoo for the compost. These were kids from East CLC, and this got started because of the kids at East. They were inquiring and asking questions, and I think Mr. Jerome is one of the people that really spearheaded this. When I say an outstanding event, I was so proud of our East CLC scholars. They were very articulate in communicating what it was that they wanted, and this is something that they are asking for us to look into continuing because it really supports the work that they're trying to do at East. Congratulations to our APS schools for being on the U.S. News and World Report list of the top elementary schools in the country. At King CLC, Principal Diane Floyd, Judith A. Resnick, CLC, Principal Michelle Angelo, Miller South, Principal Regina Anderson, and Wrightsman, CLC, Ione McIntosh. These are remarkable achievements, and congratulations to the staffs and the principal and the parents and our scholars at those schools. And I know U.S. News and World Reports has listed the top elementary schools, but all of our schools are grand and stellar as far as I'm concerned. Thank you. Thank you also to Ms. Ferguson and to all of our unions that supported the AACP, OSPSE 689, SEIU Local 1, and OAPSE AFSCME Local 778. I had a chance to meet with them as well today. Our unions took it upon themselves, Ms. Ferguson and the union leads and people from those unions took it upon themselves and just asked for donations, and it's remarkable how many families that they have been able to touch, and so I thank her for that. And next year we're going to do even more and do a lot better. They have enough that we can even provide families coming into our building here at 10 North Main to support them as they're coming in and if they have needs as well. Also, the Towpath Credit Union, I want to thank them for hosting the financial literacy classes. I had an opportunity to meet with them and really talk about the vision that we have around ensuring that our scholars get the chance to be financial literate. And so Schumacher, Krause, and Helen Arnold schools were the schools that have had the opportunity to connect with the credit union. Helen Arnold will be tomorrow night, so if you have an opportunity beginning at 5 o'clock, please go and see it. They have all kinds of games, activities for the kids, and it's really been a great opportunity. And also the Be Kind initiative that we're doing here. Our Litchfield Choir came and did some caroling, so I want to thank them. It's time for them to come get a record recording contract. They were very good. The lights on the boulevard in the Kenmore area, I went to that when our scholars from Miller South performed there, and let me tell you something, it was just standing room only, and our kids did a phenomenal job. I also want to thank the arts and culture team, Miss Nicole. They met with me and just welcomed me here. Hard to believe that I've only been here 4 months. It feels like much longer. But it has been a pleasure working with each of those people that I've met. They've been so supportive, and it's really appreciated. They made sure I was prepared for a night like tonight. So I would like to take the opportunity to just highlight a little bit more of a higher view. Thank you. Thanks. This morning, we had the opportunity to just share some highlights around the Blueprint for Excellence, our strategic plan, and just want to kind of go through some of these slides with you, and just again thank the staff, my team, because this would not have been done and made possible without them. But I also want to thank, and if we can give Ms. Joanne and our team a round of applause, please. Because the public does not see what we do on a daily basis. They're not here to see people actually working and moving about and running around and in and out of meetings, and it's not where we're just sitting here. The work is really being done, and I think that as the public gets an opportunity to really see the Blueprint for Excellence, our strategic plan, and really gets an opportunity to examine it, you're going to see the work that has been put into this, and it could not have been done and made possible without their support. But even more, I want to thank our public, our community, our business partners, our faith-based leaders, our parents, our scholars, for just making time and taking time that they didn't have to come out and be a part of the numerous, countless meetings. I know that the team was about sick of me because they had so many meetings, but what they found is that this is the work, and this is what it takes to move this work and to make this happen. And so we will be continuing. This is not the end. There are going to be continuous public meetings and engagements with our community around the Blueprint for Excellence. So this is not the end, but it takes our partners and our scholars, our families and our community, our employees, and also our board to build for a better Akron. The mission and vision and foundational values, everyone had an opportunity to vote and to weigh in on wordsmithing and just changing things in terms of us being able to move forward and be productive. But our mission of Akron Public Schools is to ensure that all APS scholars are college, career, and life ready, providing innovative educational experiences. The vision is all APS scholars will graduate as architects of their future, prepared to thrive in an ever-changing world. And our foundational values encompass communication, culture of inclusion, where accountability, relevance, relationships, trust, and readiness. The new motto for Akron Public Schools: empowering minds, enriching futures. This is the coherence framework which is the work that was established at Harvard University by Dr. Richard Elmore, that I had an opportunity many years ago to actually meet Dr. Elmore, who was not an educator. He was through the business, College of Business, but he worked in collaboration with the educational department. It's a little bit hard to see on the graphic, but if you're looking at the graphic, the dome or the cone that sits in the clear that's on top is equity. Everything that we do here in APS is based upon equity. That was one of the things that our board had done prior to me getting here. And when I met with the board, the blueprint was one of the very first things that I said that we would accomplish and get done. But equity weaves through everything that we do. The red ball, if you would look at it that way, that is the instructional core. That is where the teacher and the student and the content meet. But in the middle is the task. What types of tasks are we giving kids to do in our classrooms in order for them to be more enriched and to be challenged? And then our theory of change, you will see that as well, and as well as our cornerstones. The picture to the right is sort of the flat piece of it when you look at it from that perspective, but keeping in mind that that cone is sitting on top with equity. And our 4 cornerstones, number 1 is culture of safety and belonging. Cornerstone number 2 is academic achievement. Cornerstone number 3 is operational excellence. That deals with all of our business affairs, our finances, our technology, buildings, grounds, all of those things. And cornerstone number 4 deals with partnerships, family, and community engagement. As we look at these cornerstones, the first one again is culture of safety and belonging. Here's where we are looking at our multi-tier systems of supports that we're working on and trying to establish that so that we have a framework which the team is working on right now. And we hope, in working with our partners and our unions, we hope to be able to roll that out at the earlier part of next year. Our Be Kind 330, Stay in the Game. Our college and career academies, our pathways. I know a lot of our community sometimes thinks that we have maybe gotten rid of some of those things. It's very much alive and well still here in Akron Public Schools, and also our student voice. Looking at cornerstone number 2, academic achievement, we will be proposing, we're looking budgetarily right now at how we can make this happen, but we're looking at moving from a half-day pre-K to a full day of pre-K. Looking at the interventions that we're providing for early literacy and numeracy in our early elementary years, foundational years for our kids, but also looking at what we are doing in middle school and also high school around Algebra 1. Many of our scholars do not do well in Algebra 1, but I'm a living witness that if kids do not know how to read, they will struggle with algebra, geometry, Algebra 2, and trigonometry, as well as calculus. Cornerstone number 4, operational excellence, looking at employee development around the blueprint. We will be looking at a current position and reframing that position to focus on talent and organizational development and recruitment, looking at labor relations, which is an area that we need a great deal of work, technology, and also looking at how we can strengthen our communication department, our division of communications here in our public school system. And then looking at cornerstone number 4, partnerships and family and community engagement, the various advisory committees that we've established, meeting with them periodically throughout the year, our partnerships that we're establishing. I also am excited if I will go back for just a moment, looking at cornerstone number 2, when we talk about our literacy, we also have the superintendent's Book of the Month Club, and we also, the other day, just out of nowhere, I had a meeting with a potential partner. It was not for that, but they are potentially going to sponsor that initiative, and so we're hoping that that will work out. But our Superintendent's Book of the Month will kick off tomorrow. Letters are going home to parents. We're encouraging our scholars to read and read and read and read as much as they can over the holiday. Some will, some won't, but after they finish playing with their toys and everything, but we want them to engage in it. And then we're going to be using PBIS to help support and engage them in that initiative. And then also family and community engagement activities that we have planned throughout the course of the year for our scholars. The alignment with all of this is, as we look at the Blueprint for Excellence, our budget, our master facilities plan, our refresh plans around transportation, equipment, and also technology. All of these pieces go together in concert that will help support the work that we're trying to do. As you look here, the superintendent's levers, I'm not going to attempt to try and read that even with glasses on. But those levers are the things that we are looking at, focusing on the expansion of pre-K in hopes that we can possibly have a full day of pre-K. Looking at the literacy and numeracy strategies that we're trying to employ. I am excited because, and forgot to mention it earlier today, but we have increased 6% on our state work that we've done with our kids so far this year around literacy. So I'm very happy, and that's connected to our iReady, the work that our teachers are doing. Well, we want our kids to not leave second grade not reading at or above grade level. I know when people say, oh, we want them to enter third, no, we want them to end second grade reading at or above grade level. The expansion of our communications department, which is very much needed. We want to be able to share with our community and tell the story. Also looking at the equitable access that our scholars have with our pathways around that will help to support our graduation rates, college and career readiness, and also workforce development. As I previously stated, our multi-tier systems of supports, and also around financial literacy. It is very important for me that our scholars are enriched and that they understand financial literacy and understand that when they are in these college and career academies, as they begin to move out of those, especially those that are wanting to be entrepreneurs, that they understand how to even write and understand a business plan. And that's going to be very important for them. And so, with that being said, I want to once again thank the board who has allowed me to pursue working on the Blueprint for Excellence from the moment that I got here. I again know my team is glad this portion is over, but the real work actually just begins. So, but I want to again thank the community, our partners, who have people have just been so kind and just so accommodating and welcoming and coming in and really supporting us around this. But this is all to help us build a better Akron. And that does conclude our presentation on the Blueprint for Excellence. Thank you. So,
thank you, Dr. Robinson.
At this time, and before I do that, I want to make sure, I don't want to forget, Ms. Joanne will kill me. I want to make sure that we acknowledge our Be Kind 330. So during our last board meeting, the invitation for the community to join us at the grand finale of the Expressions of Kindness Poetry Project. The evening was truly extraordinary, showcasing the remarkable talent of our district scholars. It was heartening to offer such an opportunity for our scholars and witness the overwhelming support from our staff, families, community members, and our financial supporters. And so on the screen, you'll see the collection of photos capturing the essence of that moment and that night. Special congratulations in order for all of our students involved, including our published student authors. The talent, we have such talent here in this district and in this city. We Are the World Singers. It brought back so many memories of when I was in high school and we sang that song. I want to thank Mr. Tommy Bruno for helping to put that together. I also want to thank Mr. Ryan, who also works and did a lot of work to help with the team as well. So thank you, Ryan. I know he's probably at home watching. But the Dynamic Poetry Slammers, our two students, MCs, Darnell and Kaylin, thank you. Our ambassadors who warmly welcome people. Thank you again. Our IT department that did so much to help with this and to make this happen. Thank you so much. But with that being said, Dr. Hall and to the board, I am recommending for our Blueprint for Excellence to be approved tonight as we begin the work. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Definitely appreciate that presentation. Is there a motion to approve the Blueprint for Excellence?
So moved.
It's been moved by Ms. McKittrick. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Ms. Autry. Is there any discussion? Yes, Ms. Autry.
I, too, just want to thank Superintendent Robinson and the entire senior staff and everyone who had input on this. I was able to drop in a few different times, and you guys were just working furiously to pull this together. And I think it's something that we should be proud of as a district, to have something that's going to bring all of the great work we were already doing and then some together in a focused direction. So I just wanted to thank everyone who's had input on putting this together for our district.
Thank you, Ms. Autry. Is there any other discussion? Let me also echo Ms. Autry's comments. Again, I want to thank the superintendent and and the senior staff. Again, as Ms. Autry said very eloquently, the board as a whole is very well aware of all the time that you all have put in working on this. And listen, I'm excited because. We talk a lot about you have two choices. You can be market-driven or market-driving. And, I, for one, am glad that this work is done because I think it puts us in position to be market-driving as opposed to market-driven. And so as we take our place, again, at the forefront of innovative districts. And so, Dr. Robinson, again, I want to thank you personally for the work that you've led in this. This board, is cannot wait to see where this work goes. We're excited about where it's going to go, and I, for one, am happy and excited to be an enthusiastic cheerleader of you in this work as it unfolds over the next several years. So that's my comment, and at this moment in time, we will roll call, please, Dr. Thompson.
Mr. Perry.
Yes.
Mrs. McKittrick.
Yes.
Dr. Molnar.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mrs. Autry.
Yes.
Dr. Hall.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay. Next, we'll move to President's Report. Again, this will be brief. I just want to say, again, just thank you one more time to my board colleagues and superintendent, treasurer, and senior staff members. I've gotten to know several of you very well over the last 4 years, and and so I'm hoping that as we as I move on into my next transition, that we can stay in touch. You become more than colleagues. It's like family. And so again, we just want to say one more time how much I appreciate all of you. So that was a quick president's report, wasn't it, Joe?
No, very
Yeah, roger that.
impressed.
Next we'll move to Treasury Report. Dr. Thompson.
Just briefly, I want to touch upon, I'd be remiss if I did not touch upon at the last board meeting, I gave a presentation regarding expenditures, and I want to make sure I give clarity that I don't think I did appropriately, and that is those positions that were added, teaching positions, et cetera, sometimes that just happens. It was driven by student need, so sometimes that happens. I need to report those numbers to you and let you know what the change is on a 5-year forecast. But I want to make sure that you understand as a board that those things do happen sometimes, and they were positions that were in need. We tried to get by without purchasing some vehicles last year, cut it out of the budget, and that didn't work, especially with the snow coming down right now. If we hadn't replaced those vehicles, we would be in a difficult spot. And then lastly, the administrative position that was created was also offset by Tamiko's position not being filled. And I believe that is our intent, not to fill that position. Is that correct, Dr. Robinson?
No, we're not filling the position.
Yeah, so that
it was
cost
used for something else.
Actually offsets a large part that administrative cost. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on that. And obviously, the 5-year forecast is a fluid document. It's going to change, and we have a lot of work before us. I believe we have a meeting tomorrow night. It is our first endeavor into doing the best that we can to come back with as many black numbers moving forward as we possibly can. So we'll keep you apprised of how that moves forward through the Finance Committee. But again, I just wanted to make sure we were very clear about why sometimes the budget sometimes goes above and where it didn't and might have seemed like it did, which is in the administrative position. So,
Roger that. Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Are there any questions or comments for Dr. Thompson? Okay. Next, we'll move to committee reports, legal contracts, and board policy. Dr. Molnar.
Hi, yes. We do have a third and final reading today. So for 7540-234 and 8300 and 8315.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve these 5 policies?
I move to approve.
It's been probably moved by Mr. Perry. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Ms. McKittrick. Is there any discussion? Okay, I'll just say I'm glad that we got our numbering down for this board meeting. Right. Just for clarity's sake, though, so that those of you who are serial watchers of our board meetings, the nomenclature issue was we were not appropriately counting the committee reading as a reading, so we actually had done 3 readings, and so, but anyway, so I just didn't want you all to think that we had no idea what we're doing up here. So anyway, having said that, Dr. Thompson, roll call, please.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Mrs. McKittrick,
Yes.
Dr. Molnar,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Mrs. Autry,
Yes.
Dr. Hall.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, next we'll move to finance and capital management.
No report.
No report. Next we'll move to instructional policy and student achievement.
No report.
Okay. All right, next we'll move to the equity committee.
No report.
No report. Okay. I see no unfinished business. I see no new business. So next, I'll take a motion to recess into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1, the purposes of considering the employee or compensation of a public employee or official of the school district. Is there a motion?
So move.
The move by Mr. Alexander. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. McKittrick. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing seen then, I will make a quick comment. There will be no action after executive session. So Having said that, roll call, please, Dr. Thompson.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Mrs. McKittrick,
Yes.
Dr. Molnar,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Mrs. Autry,
Yes.
Dr. Hall.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, we stand in adjournment at, in recess at 7:09 p.m. Thank you.